I have headed outdoors for today's video, doing a look back, a reflection piece on the May 8th Derecho, or May 8th windstorm. For folks here in southern Illinois, this was a day that many people will remember. It was May 8th, 2009. Today marks the 5-year anniversary. And the reason I'm out in my yard is this is where we once had a big white privacy fence that kind of went all the way around the perimeter of our backyard. And the windstorm that day just decimated it. It ripped it to pieces and knocked it and blew it into my neighbor's house. It blew it all throughout our subdivision here. And it was just probably the worst storm that I've ever lived through. I mean, I've seen damage from other storms and done reports on it in other areas, but for something like this to impact and hit my neighborhood, my community, this was definitely the worst that we had ever seen. The night before, there was a huge hailstorm that did a lot of damage to our roof that we didn't know about at the time, and then the windstorm moved through and it ripped shingles off the roof. I looked out the window that afternoon and watched the siding and the shingles being ripped off of my neighbor's house. That scared me, quite honestly, because I wasn't exactly sure what we were looking at. I came back and looked at my own backyard, and we've replaced it since, but there's a basketball goal here that had been knocked down. Like I said, the fence was being ripped apart at the time. I watched as the neighbor's trampoline was being blown around. And my wife had a home daycare at the time and had several small children. We had put them all in the bathroom, got them into the shower, the most interior part of the room, because we don't have a basement. And we weren't sure, like I said, if we were facing a tornado or what. Winds ended up being 100 miles plus per hour. A lot of damage in my neighborhood and in neighborhoods all around southern Illinois. We were without power. This happened on a Friday afternoon. We didn't get power back until Tuesday night that week. The kids' school, you can see it kind of here behind me, is very near our house. Was able to walk there and get the kids, but the school ended up staying open late that day because the main road coming into Carterville was blocked. There were trees everywhere. Parents couldn't get in to get their kids. And so they were coming in on ATVs, some were walking, they were down power lines. It was just a very chaotic scene. It was one of those things you see on TV and you think, oh, that looks bad, but then once you get that damage firsthand, it really hits you. And neighbor's house, we helped tarp the roof. We went to another friend's house and cut trees that had fallen in his yard and tried to kind of clean up some of that mess. And just the camaraderie, the friendship, the neighborly gestures that came out of that. I remember rolling my grill out. The neighbors across the street had a bunch of extra barbecue from a party they had had the night before. We had, everybody had food in their refrigerators and freezers, and all the neighbors just gathered and we grilled out every night. It was like a tailgate party because everybody wanted to get the food from spoiling. And we had a deep freeze at the time. We went and bought some big bags of ice, and everybody kind of threw their stuff in our freezer, and we just kind of kept it cold that way. But every night we would all gather on the driveway and barbecue and talk and everything. So that was the one good thing that came out of this, that sense of camaraderie and friendship and whatnot. But just a few thoughts, a few memories back on May 8th, 2009. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.